Hello, hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Colette, and thank you so much for joining me and sharing your practice today. If you have not done so already, please like and subscribe. I think I hope it's right. I saw that I have some new subscribers, so thank you so much for joining me, and I'm looking forward to new people joining our Cool Calm Collective. I just starting that. Anyway, so we are going to do 5 stretches today that are simple yet effective in opening and awakening our hips. Alright, so we're going to begin the easy seat. Crisscross applesauce. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Bringing our shoulders back and down. And really straightening and elongating through the spine. Alright, so this is our easy seat. And we're going to go to our first stretch, which is the butterfly. You may be familiar with that. We're going to bring the soles of our feet towards touching each other. We are using our hands, they can be at our ankle or at our toes. And we are once again elongating our spine, bringing our shoulders down, and allowing gravity to have our knees drop to either side. And now we're in the butterfly. That butterfly, let me see you do that butterfly. Shout out to my DMV people, that go-go song by CCB, I think, is really in my head. Anyway, so we are in our butterfly, and we're going to just flap our wings for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And if you want to intensify this, we can move into our 1.5 stretch, which is bound ankle. Right? And so we're bringing our feet closer to our groin, and that really intensifies the stretch in the inner hips, right? Making it a little bit more challenging for our knees to fall. And once again, you can still have your hands at the ankle or the toes, and trying our best to bring it forward, straightening our back, elongating shoulders back, and flapping. We're going to flap here for just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And you can see in the camera that this might be for you, maybe it's not, that you can see the one side of my body is tighter, like one part of my hip is tighter than the other. You see how this one, my right side, is a bit lower compared to my left. And that is true whenever I do any type of hip opening things, and so this is why I'm breaking it, so that we can both learn and grow together. And so now we're going to move into our 90-90 stretch, which I never knew it was called that, but yeah, this is how it goes. Hello, hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Colette, and thank you so much for joining me today. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so already, somewhere. And thank you so much for my new subscribers. I'm happy for you all to be joining me on my yoga journey, YouTube journey. So we're going to do 5 of my favorite simple but effective stretches for awakening and opening our hips. So we're going to begin in an easy seat, having our butt to the ground, crisscross applesauce, bringing our shoulders away from our ears, maybe down and back, and making sure that we are straightening through the spine. Right, that really helps so that we're just focusing and being intentional with all parts of our body. So we're going to begin in stretch 1, which is the butterfly. So you may be familiar. And you're going to bring the soles of your feet touching each other in front of you. You can have your hand either at the ankle or the toes. Still keeping our shoulders back and down and still straightening through the spine. And if you want to make it a little more dynamic, you can flutter your wings. And we're going to flutter for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then after that, we can transition to bound ankle, which is a little bit more intensified stretch, right? And so we're bringing the soles of our feet or our feet closer to our groin, our pelvis area. And that allows just a little bit more, I don't know, tension here. And we're gonna let gravity do what it needs to do. And having our knees drop to the side of our body. Once again, making sure that we're keeping our spine erected. And you can see in the camera that one side is higher than the other. And that kind of just shows like how, to me, how tight my hips are and how this hip is a bit tighter because it doesn't want to go down in comparison to this one. And that's okay. And so once again, we're going to flap these wings if it's comfortable in your practice. Right? We want a sensation, but we don't want pain. And we're going to flap this for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Next, we're going to move into the third stretch, which is called 90-90 stretch, which I never knew it was called that, but you probably seen it before. To me, I like to consider it as like an alternative to pigeon pose, if you're familiar. It's a bit less intensive. Yeah, a less intensive pigeon pose. So I'm going to begin this side. And so you want your left foot to be in front at 90 degrees while you're still seated. And then you want your right foot to be behind you, but also at 90 degrees. Hence 90-90. And so you see that this is squared at 90 degrees. I kind of like to have my foot flexed. And then this one is squared at 90 degrees. And our body wants to turn this way, but we want to square our hips. And you can see that for me, this is a bit more challenging on this side of my body because, like I said, my left side doesn't want to open out as much compared to my right. So you can stay here if this feels good to you. Or one modification to maybe enhance it is see if you can lift up this back leg. And so for me, I like to clasp my hands and use that to help me focus and be intentional. Once again, straightening through the spine, squaring my hips, and focusing my energy to lift up that back left leg. And I also like to flex my foot. Something about that flexing just helps it to lift up better. And so we're going to try this and do some lifts for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to try this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh. And you can stay here. Or if this also feels good to your body and you have this flexibility, to hinge at the hips. So you're going to hinge forward, keeping your hips squared, and bringing your chest to your thigh, to your knee, while keeping that back straight. And that, once again, definitely intensifies this rotation, hip rotation. So we're going to try and go down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ooh. And so I'm going to safely get out of this by bringing this back foot forward and straightening these front legs, my legs, and shaking it out. And now we're going to do the same on the other side. Ooh, I did a lot. So bringing this left foot forward, right back. No, I did that wrong. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Bringing this right foot forward at 90 degrees and this left at 90 as well. And you can see here, this leg is a little lower. In my body, it doesn't feel as forced on this side as it was for the other side. So I invite you to feel it out, right? We love a body awareness. squaring the hips, flexing the toes, and we can stay here. Clasp and lift with that back foot if you want to get a bit spicy. We're going to do it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can see that this hip rotation is a bit more accessible for this side of my body when I'm doing it externally this way. But when I'm doing it internally, correct me if I'm wrong, then it's a little more challenging. And so, yeah. And we can stay here, or we can hinge at the hips for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh. And bringing that back foot forward and just shaking that out. Now we're going to get into our third, which is cat fourth. Now we're going to move into our fourth stretch, which is cat and cow, which maybe you may be familiar with. And so we're going to begin in all fours, having our wrists over our shoulders. We're going to begin in all fours. Oh my God. We're going to do it again. It's okay, baby. Hello, hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Colette, and thank you so much for joining me in today's practice. If you have not done so already, please like and subscribe. Yeah, I'm supposed to say that. I have some new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining the collective. I'm starting that now. And I look forward to having more people join me in my journey on YouTube. So we are going to do 5 of my favorite simple but effective hip opening stretches that is very beginner friendly. And so we're going to start in an easy seat, if you're not there already, which is crisscross applesauce. Place your hands wherever you want to. And just here grounding ourselves in today's practice, bringing our shoulders away from our ears, down and back, and lengthening at the spine. And maybe a breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. And we are here today on the mat. So we're going to begin with our first stretch, which is the butterfly. We may be familiar. And we're going to go there by bringing the soles of our feet to touch each other. And we can place our hands either by our ankles or at our toes, making sure that we're still elongating our spine, straightening that up, and bringing our shoulders back so that, all parts are active and being intentional. My bad. And so you can stay here, or if you want to make it a little more dynamic, do a little flutter and flap your wings. Right? That butterfly, let me see you do that butterfly. Shout out to my DMV people, you will know what I'm singing. That CCB Gilda song. I'm assuming it's called the butterfly. Anyway, so we are going to hold this, or we can flap our wings for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And you can stay here, or if you want to intensify a little bit, we can move into bound angle, which just allows it to be a little more dynamic stretch for our inner thighs. And so you're going to bring your feet closer to your groin, still making sure our back is straight, maybe just adjusting yourself so you're still having your seat on the ground. And you can see here in the camera that my right leg and hip is a bit lower compared to my left. And that's just because my left is just really tight. And so anytime I'm doing hip openings, it's just not the same on either side. But that's okay, because that makes it perfect. And we are not symmetrical, perfect beings. Alright, so I'm bringing it closer. And once again, I can stay here or continue to flap. And I'm going to do that for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, gonna move into our second stretch for today. Is the 90-90 stretch. I never knew it was called this, but it makes sense when you see it. So we are going to begin by maybe turn to the side. I'm turning to the side so you can get a better view. I'm gonna have this right foot in front and at a 90-degree angle parallel to my mat. And I'm gonna have this back foot, my left one, I'm gonna have it behind me at 90 degrees as well, and hence 90-90. I like to have my feet flexed, trying to have this at a right angle as much as possible. And then also squaring my hips. You kind of want to, you naturally want to turn, but to really get that both internal and external rotation by squaring your hips. Right? And you can stay here, or if you want to intensify and flexibility in your practice, then you can hinge forward at the hips. Right? Bringing chest to calf or chest to knee, and making sure our back is still straight. And so we're going to do that for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can stay here, or to juice it up a bit, right? Challenge yourself is to see if you can lift up that back leg, right? Once again, playing around with mobility as well as flexibility. And so grounding myself, squaring my hips, I like to clasp my hands in front of me, really focus. So I'm being intentional to only lift that back left leg. So lifting it off the ground. And we're gonna do it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright? And so we want a sensation. We don't want to rumble the sensation, but we don't want pain. No. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So simply just shifting over. And now I'm going to bring this right in the front and the left in the back. Right? That goes. I am wrong. And now I'm going to bring the left in the front and the right in the back. Right? So as you'll be able to see, it's still 90 degrees flexed. Still 90 degrees flexed. Squaring my hips. And you can see that this left side is a bit higher compared to the right. And that's how we're here. So we're going to begin hinging for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now we're going to spice it up a bit and do the same thing by lifting up this back leg. Just know this side is a little more challenging for me, but we love that, you know? That means your brain is growing. So clasping here, really focusing my energy, flexing my foot. I'm going to shift and square my hips and kind of press this left leg down to help stabilize myself. And that opposition gives me stability and balance to then lift this back leg up. Ooh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just bring that forward. Shake that out a little bit. Right? And like I said, we don't want to have pain, but it's a nice sensation. And it really challenges our mobility, which is important. So the next position or stretch is going to be cat and cow, which hopefully we're familiar with. So placing our hands down, shoulder width apart, shoulders over ankle, how do we say ankle? Over wrist, and then knees hip width as well, and those are aligned. And one thing to be mindful of, especially our booty girls, is that we like to arch, and we do that a lot. I think I noticed in my practice how much I would arch my back, and when I stopped doing that and being more intentional, having a neutral spine, it really activated other parts of my body and alleviated back pain. So that's my 2 cents. So we're going to begin a neutral spine. into cow first by tilting. Now we get to arch, lifting that tailbone up, opening up our chest, bringing our shoulders behind us, trying to really squeeze them together. And here is our cow. And now tilting it down, concaving, navel to spine. And this is our cat. And surprisingly, it's not only, awakens the back and spine like we're used to, but also our hips as well. So we're going to do this for a few more rounds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And while we're on all fours, we are now going to move into fire hydrant, right? So think of yourself, you see I'm doing it again. Think of yourself like a dog, and you're going to lift up your knee, leg, 90 degrees, so it is perpendicular or parallel to the ground. And so before we do that, we want to go back to our neutral spine, make sure that we're centered and stable, and not compensating by leaning to one side or bending. And actually want these elbows to be locked as much as possible. And we're going to lift up this left leg first, 90 or 45. So 90 is here and 45 is a little further back. And really working those abductors. We're going to do that for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh. Sidebar, it also really works your booty. So now we're going to do the same on the other side. Making sure we're still neutral and doing that external rotation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I think I forgot, so I'm going to just add 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Boom. All right, and now we're going to move into our last. And now we're going to move into our last simple yet effective hip opening stretches. And this one is called the hip circle. We're doing it on all fours. So you can see that these also overlap with a lot of mobility practices, especially for our hips. And so once again, we're going to do the external rotation at the hip joint. So begin by bringing our knee forward, right? The start of our circle is here. And we're going to circle and bring that knee out. Once again, like the fire hydrant, doing that 90 degrees. And then we're going to keep it up and make a circle with our knee by keeping it up, into now a donkey kick, and then bringing it back down. We'll do one more, lifting it forward, circling that knee, bringing out to 90 degrees to that fire hydrant, and then keeping it engaged and really keeping it engaged and circling up and down and back to the starting position. And now we're going to do the reverse. So we're going to bring it back into that donkey kick and see if we can externally rotate out this way, bringing it back forward, down into that starting position. And last one, up, out to that fire hydrant, keeping it up, 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 down into that circle. Ooh. And now we're going to move to the other side. Same here, 90, 90. Line to line, bringing that knee forward at the starting point, keeping our knee up, up, up into that 90 degrees, keeping that knee up, and now back into a donkey, and then bring it back to the starting. One more time, up and out, circle, keeping it up, up, up to donkey, and back down, and now reversing it. So donkey, out to fire hydrant, up, 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 down to that starting position. Last one, donkey, out, up, up, awake. Mine is a bit awake and warm. And hopefully this was helpful. And see you next time.